To get a high score in PT listening, reading, writing, and speaking, you need to be able to understand and use idiomatic language, idioms. Does this mean that you need to know phrases like let the cat out of the bag or there's an elephant in the room? No. In fact, these types of idioms will likely decrease your scores. In this video, I'm going to show you the types of idioms that you need to know to boost your scores. Now, before we get started and look at which idioms you need to know for PT success, I really recommend that you watch this video first. In this video on our E2 English YouTube channel, which is for general English, I take you through all you need to know about idioms, what they mean, where they come from, how you use them, etc. It's a really important video. To watch it, simply search for E2 English idioms on YouTube or click the link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to E2 English while you're there. So there's a lot of confusion about the use of idioms in PTE. What I want to do in this video is quickly clarify what idioms are, because there are two main types, and then show you how idioms apply in each of the PTE sections. So the most well-known type of idiom is called a proverb idiom. These idioms are metaphorical sayings such as to let the cat out of the bag, which means to ruin a surprise, or there's an elephant in the room, which means that there's an obvious unspoken problem, or skating on thin ice, which means to do something risky. I'm sure you've heard of these types of idioms, and I'm sure you know many more. So why are these idioms? Well, they're metaphorical. They're not literal. There's no actual cat in the bag or elephant in the room, and no one really skating on thin ice. These non-literal sayings have a second figurative meaning. That's why they're idiomatic. And let me tell you an important secret about these types of idioms. Proverb idioms are unhelpful in PTE and possibly dangerous for your score. You will never hear a proverb idiom in your PT listening test or see one in your PT reading test, and you should never use a proverb idiom in your PT speaking, and you should definitely never use one in PT writing, as they are completely inappropriate. Now, what I'm saying contradicts a lot of advice you get here on YouTube: bad advice, unhelpful advice, even detrimental advice. Please be very careful who you listen to when preparing for PTE. Click that subscribe button for trustworthy PTE preparation advice from E2. And now let me tell you about another type of idiom, a type of idiom that is critical for success in PTE listening, reading, speaking, and writing. These are called idiomatic phrases. Here are some highly common idiomatic phrases which are essential for PTE success. Kind of course, in terms of, in fact, deal with, at all, as well, and so on and so forth. These are just a few examples of idiomatic phrases, but what makes them idiomatic? I mean, they're very different from letting cats out of bags and skating on thin ice. The reason is that they're also non-literal. I'm not going to go into detail here, but you'll just have to trust me. The phrases that I just showed you are just as idiomatic as the proverb idioms, but they're way more important. If you haven't watched it yet, please check out that E2 English channel on YouTube and watch the idioms video where I explain in depth the differences between proverb idioms and natural sounding idiomatic phrases. Let's learn how idioms work in PT listening. You'll probably never hear a proverb idiom in PT listening. You will, however, hear a lot of idiomatic phrases. And if you don't understand the figurative meaning of the idiomatic phrase, then it will complicate your understanding of what's being said. These idiomatic phrases are from an official PT listening question. Came up with, dared to, put emphasis on. For example, taken X years, battery of tests, taking too long, so much at stake, losing concentration, concentration span, emphasis on, translate into dollars. So this was a short 90-second transcript, and there were 12 idiomatic phrases that were critical to its understanding. But what about PT reading? How are idioms used in PT reading? Take a look at these idiomatic phrases taken from an official PT reading multiple choice choose single answer question. In many ways, weave together, rendered hollow, in this work, on display. So in this very short paragraph, there are 5 idiomatic phrases, and again, no proverb idioms. If you want high quality listening and reading practice materials and expert teachers who know what they're talking about, then check out E2 Test Prep. Get started by clicking the Start Free Trial button on www.e2testprep.com or click the link in the description below. Let's now talk about idioms in PT writing. I want to be very clear, you should never use proverb idioms in PT writing. They're completely unsuitable and won't help to raise your score. But what about idiomatic phrases? Well, let's take another look at that list of idiomatic phrases I showed you earlier. Do you notice anything interesting about these idiomatic phrases? You may notice that many of these phrases are unsuitable for written English. They're much more suited to spoken English. In fact, the only idiomatic phrases that would be suitable for writing from this list would be these ones here. Written English is much more formal than spoken English. So A, you should never use proverb idioms in your writing, and B, you should be very careful as to which idiomatic phrases you use in your writing. Now, some of these idioms are a bit informal for writing, so you might want to use a more formal equivalent, a single word that means the same thing as the idiomatic phrase. So on the left-hand side, you can see the idiomatic phrases for speaking like kind of, deal with, make sure, go through, etc. And on the right-hand side, you can see the formal equivalents, which are much more suitable for writing, like somewhat, take action, establish, undergo, happen, etc. According to the official scoring for PT Write Essay, which is a major contributor to your writing score, you need to have a good command of a broad lexical repertoire, idiomatic expressions, and colloquialisms. So you should be using idiomatic phrases in your writing, but this does not mean proverb idioms, and it means you need to be careful as to which ones you use. All right, what about idioms in PT speaking? Because PT Academic is an academic English test, proverb idioms are completely unsuitable. So please, no raining cats and dogs or in a nutshell or two sides of the same coin. Really avoid those proverb idioms. Idiomatic phrases, on the other hand, are essential for a high speaking score. They're as important or even more important than individual words. Here are a few example idiomatic phrases that would be appropriate to use in a describe image or retell lecture. In terms of, in fact, at all, come up, as well as, first of all, and so on and so forth. And there are many more. Remember, when speaking, you don't want to force these idiomatic phrases into your speaking. Hopefully they come naturally. Remember, if you feel like you want to understand these types of phrases more, search for E2 English on YouTube and subscribe to that YouTube channel as well as this one here. So remember that idiomatic phrases are super powerful and proverb idioms are inappropriate in all aspects of PTE. Thanks for watching and keep practicing.